But I'm really looking forward to this one. It's a little bit, like I said, it's a little bit different than we've had in the past. And then next month we'll be back to the 2-hour format with PowerPoint, and next month we actually have Jed. But for a second, I'm going to talk. Then we're going to have Ed Webster. You can see him over there in the videos, and he's going to talk a bit about IGEL training and IGEL Academy and some neat stuff they're doing there. It's really neat. And then we're really excited to have Frank Biermann with us, and he's one of the first employees at IGEL, and this guy knows everything about everything. Right, Frank?
That's correct.
That's correct. So real quick, so the next meetup we have, like I said, is sort of the Excel meetup. That's July 16th, and really happy to have Jed Ayers, our CEO, with us, and he's going to talk about, his vision for IGEL, what's coming in the future, things of that nature, right? So it's always, when I was at CTP, I loved having when Mark Templeton would come and talk. So the other thing is, I would love you guys to pepper him with questions too. Let Jed hear what we think. Then we're going to have Christian talk about some IGEL deployment best practices. September, we don't have any ideas yet, so please use the questions piece here of Zoom. And if you have any ideas for subjects for September or any ideas for October, November, December, please post them in there and or post them in Slack, and we'll sort of take a poll and we'll make that stuff happen. Always special thanks to Advanced Services. Ed is part of the Advanced Services team. Christian is part of the Advanced Services team, and we're getting a lot of help from these guys. So the last but not least, some links to sign up for the June or the July meetup. Go to igelcommunity.com/events. So that's all I have to say for you. I'll be back when we do the Q&A piece, but now we're going to turn this over to Ed, and he's going to talk a bit about Advanced Services, the IGEL Academy and training. So Ed, the floor is all yours for now.
All right. Well, thank you, Doug, and hi, everyone. I'm really happy to be here, and I want to tell you a little bit about our learning management system at IGEL, and this is what we call IGEL Academy, but in general, I'm going to talk about IGEL education as a kind of a whole to start off with. Again, my name's Ed Webster, so my background is engineering. I'm technically called a trainer here in IGEL, but part of what I do is to kind of manage the IGEL Academy LMS as well and create self-paced trainings. Most of the time, I'm not relying on my own knowledge of the product. I go out to guys like Frank and Sebastian and people throughout the IGEL ecosystem who have the expert knowledge, and I create the training around that. So let me get started with a couple slides just to go through, if I can get the slides to actually advance. So what is IGEL education? So we have a little saying here, it's like learning on the edge, because we're an edge operating system. So I thought that was a nice little tagline. So in case you see that, that's what that means. So IGEL education is designed to enable customers and partners to reach their goals faster through formally constructed and socially developed content. You like that? I worked hard on that one. Basically, the idea here is create training that helps you as a customer or a partner or whoever you may be, and however you're using IGEL, to get to the goal faster. And we do this in a couple different ways. We have our IGEL Academy, and in there we have our formal self-paced courses. So these are e-learning courses. And then we also have a section in there that we're trying to develop, and really we need your help to do this, because this is something that I would like to see kind of come out of the employees and the partners and customers all kind of working together, is to be able to kind of do what we're doing here in community, but in more of a teaching fashion, right? In creating videos and how-to videos and sharing your knowledge. So if you find something that is a really cool, like, hey, a nugget of information that you think that everybody would like to know about, and it's not something that's easy to just type into a chat window and tell people about, but you really need to show them. IGEL Academy has the tools to allow you to create your own videos, upload them into the social channels, and then you can point people to them from IGEL Community and say, hey, if you want to see my video, here, it's up on IGEL Academy. So I'll show you that a little bit later when we get into the actual LMS. And then, of course, we do offer on-site trainings for enterprises as well. If you have a very large company and we need to do something on-site, we can do that as well. I love this quote from this guy, Lincoln Murphy. He's the founder of 16 Ventures. Training is not just about the product. It's about getting the user to the desired outcome. Love that quote. So the bottom line, education helps the learners realize success with IGEL quickly, and it allows engineers to get a better view of what IGEL best practices are, because we go to these fellows like Sebastian and Frank who are experts and who have implemented the product hundreds of times or whatever it might be. We go to our advanced services guys, our SEs, we get that input, and we put together what we call engineering standards or best practices. And a lot of that is going to be embedded in the training. So this ultimately improves your end user adoption. Now, why is that important? Because if you're trying to get IGEL spread inside of your company, if you're one of our evangelists in your company, knowing the product and being able to explain it to other people is huge in getting the end user to adopt it. Okay, so IGEL Academy, this is our LMS, or learning management system. It allows us to train people where we can scale our training very quickly. I am kind of a single-threaded type of department within IGEL at this time, right? So I can't get out there and personally train every person. This system gives us the ability to go out there and train hundreds of, maybe even thousands of people all at once. And so we call it the focal point of learning, all things IGEL. And you'll see on the landing page, you have the social learning and sharing section, you have the IGEL training, and then you can actually look at your own activities and things that you've done as well. Now, what you get when you go on to IGEL Academy, this is a free access to IGEL Academy, and as part of that free access to IGEL Academy, you get our foundational course, which is the IGEL Certified Professional. Now, a quick note on IGEL Certified Professional. This is what we used to call, in the old days, the IGEL Certified Engineer course. And I took that course and I basically took the puzzle pieces and rearranged them a little bit, talked to people, updated some information, turned it into a self-paced course, and we put it up there on IGEL Academy. It's the same, pretty much the same content as the ICE. So that's why anybody who's gotten ICE certification, we consider them to be up to this point the equivalent of ICP. However, it is our entry level, our first level, right? When you pass the course on IGEL Academy, unlike in the past, you get your instant certification. Certification is downloadable when you pass the exam. So the course is one piece, the exam's another. You get your certification, download the PDF, and you're good to go. We also have the coach and share piece, which is our social learning. And again, this is where we can put repositories of webinars, we can have videos, informal training videos from people within and outside of IGEL, put their information up there for other people to learn. Okay, so now there's a new piece to IGEL Academy that we're rolling out right now. It's brand new, and it's called IGEL Academy Premium. And the tag here I put was value now, value later, because it's a subscription service, which gives you the ability to not only get access to our new IGEL Certified Engineer course, which is a completely revamped version of IGEL Certified Engineer. So ICE is back, baby, right? ICE, baby. So this is not just a single course, though. So the idea behind this is that you not only get IGEL Certified Engineer right now, but as the year progresses, because we do it in year increments, so you can get 1 year up to 5 years of a subscription. And during the course of the subscription, every time I come out with something, every time I get together with all these experts and we put together some type of training course and put it out there, you get access to it if you're a subscriber. That's the real value. Although, honestly, for what we're charging for the course, this IGEL Certified Engineer course could be all the value right there. I mean, it's a pretty cool course. The IGEL Certified Engineer course has a lot of meat in it. It's got live labs. So you actually get in and you go through some slides and videos and such, and a little bit of show and tell in each module. And at the end of the module, you go and click a button and you're in and on live labs working on it. And I'll show you how that works in a little bit. So the benefits, right? You're getting access to the ICE course right off the bat, right? Self-paced, on demand. It gives you hands-on experience with the product. You get your certification if you pass the exam right away and you become ICE certified. Right now, the only people ICE certified in this new ICE are internal to IGEL. So we're launching this externally now, and we're waiting to see how things go. But we're really excited to get our first partners and customers ICE certified. And of course, we've got some plans to do some social channels that are more premium in nature too. That hasn't been rolled out yet, but that's on the roadmap. And then in terms of what's coming down the line, we have what we call ICE packs. These are something that we had before. We're kind of reinventing again, and they're basically short form courses that go specific into a topic, a deep dive. And I can tell you, probably the next one you're going to see is one on ICG. And then after that, we're probably going to focus on doing some either 1 or 2 ICE packs on custom partitions, right? So this would be interesting, right? It's like how to create. This is more like kind of an unofficial thing. Like, hey, here's what we have for custom partitions that we have available. But really, what happens when you need to create one yourself? When you need to do it on your own? I'm talking with experts throughout the company to really get a handle on this, come up with some engineering standards, and knock it out of the park. So we're going to have that. And then later down the line, we're going to have another course that's going to be called IGEL Certified Architect. And this is going to be about what happens when you need to roll out IGEL to a very large organization, and you need to plan this out correctly. You need to think about load balancing and high availability and all the goodies that go along with a large form factor, right? So that's all coming, and that's the value that comes. So right now, what's the difference between ICP and ICE? Well, like I said, ICP is our entry level. IGEL Certified Engineer is the next level to more advanced. There's more information in there. It's more deep dive into the console, into the different scenarios that we could potentially run into with the product. And of course, you get that hands-on experience. Okay, so that's it for my little slide deck here. Let me go to IGEL Academy here and just give you a quick overview of what we're looking at here. So this is the landing page. Now, when you first come into IGEL Academy, which by the way is learn.igel.com, so it's nice and simple, easy to find, learn.igel.com. And when you get in here, when you come to the login page, by the way, it's going to ask you to register. So just make sure you register, and this is going to take a little bit of time, but not much, like maybe 1 business day at the very most. If it's during the business day in East Coast time in the US, it's usually within an hour, and I'll approve you for access. Please sign up with your business email address. And in there, you're just going to sign up. You're going to put some information in, submit that. I'm going to approve you for access. You'll get a notification from the system, and then you'll be able to come in and go to this landing page. Now, from here, if you wanted to go to look at the formal training, you'll see, by the way, that we have kind of a feed here of a bunch of different things that are going along in IGEL. If somebody asks a question, or if there's a new video out, maybe on our IGEL YouTube video, I'll sometimes post here about our Digital Disrupt coming up, the Reconnect, pretty cool. But if you're going straight to get to training, then you're going to go to this IGEL Training and Certification section here, and this is going to bring you to the catalog. Now, my catalog is going to have a lot of stuff that yours isn't, right? Because we've got some internal classes and different things like that that are available. But what you're probably going to see right off the bat is the IGEL Certified Professional English and the IGEL Certified Professional German. And we try to enroll everyone automatically in those courses, at least in the course itself. Now, if you're a customer, the exam is probably going to have a $99 price on it. If you're a customer or a partner, well, first of all, partners shouldn't see that at all. But if you're a customer, the only reason that's there is just to get you to connect to us. That's all. If you're just like we're just trying to make sure that you talk to somebody, right? We can have people come in and do the course and never talk to anybody, and never, even if it's just a quick email to say, hey, hi, I'd like to take the exam. Then the account managers at least know who you are, who your company is, right? So we have a voucher that you can get, and we just send you the voucher. You go to the home page here, and in the home page there's a voucher redemption. You just put the subscription code in there. Bingo, it takes that price off, and you can take the exam for free. Okay, so it's a little bit of a roadblock, but it's designed specifically to just help us connect with you. Now, the course itself, pretty cool. The ICP is all kind of video show and tell. It gives you lots of examples, and you get to see live people going through and getting into the consoles and everything like that. But the real meat and what I really want to show you is what the ICE certification, the ICE course looks like, because that's the one that you're not going to be able to see unless you're a subscriber. So here's our IGEL Academy Premium, and I'll go into the ICE course. So essentially, you go in and you've got a certain amount of where people are going to you're going to get slides and me talking to you in English, and in German somebody else is going to be talking to you. But then when you get to the lab, this is where things get interesting, right? You're going to see at the end of that module, you go to the next module, and there's going to be a little blue button here. You click on the blue button, and it turns into a green button. What it's doing is sending an API call back to our provider, CloudShare, and now it's giving us a login. So when you first get here, you're going to be asked to register in CloudShare. This is where we have our live labs. In this case, I've already registered, so I'm just going to hit login. I'm going to use my little test account here, and I'm going to click login. Now, what this is doing on the back end is provisioning a set. It's a lab with a bunch of VMs for you. And you're going to see here that it's going to prepare, there's going to be an entire set. There's Active Directory. We've got some IGEL OS clients, and then we've got the UMS machine here. Now, this is going to take a little bit to come up because it's actually building them online. So I'll let that build, and I'll go and show you a couple other things in IGEL Academy real quick. So I wanted to show you real quick is that if you go up to this, these little horizontal lines up here, it'll bring you to the menu, and inside here you're going to see My Courses and Learning Plan. So anything you've enrolled in will show up in the My Courses and Learning Plan section. So as an example, if I wanted to go in there and take a look at the courses that I've got in progress, as an example, right? Now, of course, again, I've got tons of stuff in here. Some of it's internal. You wouldn't see all this stuff, but you're going to see at least the IGEL Certified Professionals stuff. Again, if you want to take an exam, the IGEL Certified Professional ICP exam, we can go in and you can actually take that in English or in German, and you can go right in and start taking the test. You've got 60 minutes to take the test, and it's 44 questions, right? So you got to get at least 33 out of that 44. So that's the ICP. That's pretty straightforward. Let's go back over and take a look at the the channel section. So I'm going to go over to all channels. Now, this is where the social piece is. This is really cool because this is where you can put in, so I have this technical section here where people can add technical videos and such, right? So some of them are done ahead of time and they're just uploaded. Some of them are created on the fly. Now, if you want to contribute, there's a button right up here, Contribute. It brings you to this page. Now, you can do this here in the web portal, but there's also an app. So they actually have an app. It's called Go Learn. If you download the Go Learn app and you put in learn.igel.com as the platform, it brings you into IGEL Academy, and you can do all the courses right on your phone, and you can actually go and upload stuff from there as well and contribute right from your phone. So you can just be, hey, I just thought of something I wanted to teach you guys, and you can just do it right on your phone. But if you want to do it from your screen and do a screen recording, there's tools built right in. You don't have to have Camtasia or something like that to do this. You just say start recording, and it'll actually prompt you to open this screen recorder launcher. And from there, it'll allow you to record your screen, and it'll let you see your webcam as well. So it tells, it asks you, hey, what would you like to record? What part of your screen? You can do webcam, screen, both. It's not going to show the webcam right now because it's in use by Zoom. And then you can use your different tools here, and you can just start recording. When you're done recording, it just uploads into the system. It gets moderated, like somebody like me will take a look at it, see if it's cool, and then it'll get posted. So pretty cool stuff. I'm going to go ahead and cancel this, and then I'm just going to go over.
Ed?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we need to wrap it up here in a sec. We got to jump over to Frank. So.
Gotcha. That 15 minutes went pretty quick, didn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so
when you talk, there's a lot of fun stuff.
I know, right? So this is just a quick look at the live labs here. I just wanted you to see that. Here you can see we got a Virgin machine. We can just go right in. We're going to go through and do the whole install, the UMS, and the whole deal. So anyway, that is IGEL Academy and our IGEL education. Who knew I'd be able to keep talking for that long on this? But I guess I'm a bit of a motor mouth, so.
No, it's great stuff, Ed. It's what you guys are doing. It's really, really great stuff. And I hope everyone definitely checks it out. And that's what? learn.igel.com, right?
Exactly.
So, and I think everyone in the community knows a bit about that. So that being said, let's move over to Frank. And we have a bunch of questions already submitted. Also, Ed, there's a few questions in the Q&A piece. So if you want to answer those, you can answer those directly in the Q&A.
I'll take care of that right now.
Yeah, so if you guys have any additional questions for Ed, please use the Q&A piece, and he's there. And then, of course, you can always probably email him, too. Is that cool, Ed?
Excuse me, I was joking myself.
No, never email me.
Never email me, yeah. No, actually, I have an email address specifically for IGEL Academy that you're welcome to send any questions to. It's training@igel.com. So feel free anytime. If you have any questions or if you need a voucher or whatever it may be, training@igel.com.
Perfect. Okay, Frank, you ready to have some fun?
Yeah, it's really nice to hear this academy and about this academy, and I think it's when I compare this to my history where I came from. I joined IGEL as you said from the beginning. And I've seen IGEL growing, and we virtually had nothing in the beginning. And I maybe for the participants, I have a lot of experience in this field where with Linux. That is my history. I studied information science and had a lot of Linux history, and joined IGEL from the beginning, and even before this, in the predecessors of IGEL, I also was active and do this job that I'm doing now since 1998, and I always found it interesting, and some of my colleagues who founded IGEL here in Augsburg, the development department with me, are still with me. So you see, it's really a team that has a very long history, and I used to be on the fairs, on the trade shows, and all these kind of things in the past, and now I see this IGEL Academy, and that's a big step, right? We have all this education stuff. We have all this community that is really new and really cool, and that is an amazing thing to have, right? When I looked back to the days where we struggled with 4 megabytes of flash, and now we have all this, and we can do Zoom, and I'm sitting in front of an IGEL Sim client and can do a Zoom meeting here. So it's really amazing what happened in the last 2 decades. So I've seen in the question area there was the question, what is still amazing on this job, and what is the intention of staying that long in a company, right? Like me, and that is the first thing is the people, right? We have people here that are more or less my friends, because I work with them since 20 years, And this is really amazing. And the technology is amazing. We have so many new use cases for this inclined scenario. I remember back in 2000 when I was on the CeBIT. That was a fair in Germany. People asked me where this Windows comes from, and they looked into this device. It was called a terminal. We used to call it terminal. And they asked me, where's the Windows inside of this? And nobody did even know how Windows came in there. And it was the first Citrix receiver that we presented there, the first Linux Citrix receiver. And we have, we have had a really hard time to explain all this. And now the knowledge about all this cloud technology is well known in the community, and we have a lot of different use cases. And all this makes it very exciting to work on this project, on these products. In the beginning, I used to do hacking and programming. Nowadays, I'm more responsible for the architecture and for maintaining people, bringing in new people, and having people and inspiring people maybe for doing their work and helping them in getting into IGEL, into the team, but it's still technology based. So I'm still working on the products and are still very close, and I'm still very close in the product development. I have 3 teams: a Linux team, a Java team, which does the development of the UMS and the QA for all this. This means I'm responsible for the whole chain of the software, also for the quality, and we have a lot of structures now. We build a lot of frameworks to make this happen, and as you see, there are even more use cases for these devices like this UD Pocket, and we are still working on new technologies, and I think the next step is bringing almost everything to the cloud. As you have seen, the WVD client arising, that is a very amazing step. People even from home are connecting to the cloud, and this will be a bright future, right? So.
Very interesting, Frank. Very, very interesting. I mean, it has to be quite amazing for you, coming from the very beginning of IGEL, right? The day one until today. Yeah. Would there be one thing that stands out in your mind over that time, or maybe a couple, maybe something from the early days? And then, of course, nowadays you say, well, in the past 3 years, that's sort of like a rocket ship, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I joined IGEL 3.5 years, and I joined before the rocket launched, and just right before it, I guess. And but we were able to light that rocket, as I like to say, because you guys built great software, right? I mean, there was nothing changed other than we started telling the story of what you guys built. But is there anything that that is really that you'd like to that surprised you or changed over that time that stands out in your mind? Does that question make sense?
Well, there were some milestones, like what we were at CeBIT exhibition here in Germany very often, and 1 year it was directly across the Citrix booth, right? And I walked over to them and said, well, have you ever seen our thin clients? And do you know there's a Linux receiver at all? And people there were wondering, what a Linux receiver? We didn't even know that this exists. And I brought them over to our booth and showed them. And they said, wow, that's amazing. And from that point on, we had a good relationship to Citrix, and I think we also had direct relationship to the developers to a certain extent. When they grew, they also changed their teams, but we didn't know the beginner, the developers of the Linux Citrix receiver and had a very good relationship to them, and quite similar now. We have a very good relationship to Microsoft, which is actually amazing, right? Because we are doing Linux. But Microsoft changed their mind and completely opened up their development for new ideas and also for Linux development. And even now we have a very good relationship to developers in Microsoft, which in Redmond. This means, and these are key milestones in my opinion. We never did expect that Microsoft will ever take care of us, right? We were a small company in Germany, and now we have regular meetings with Microsoft in Redmond. So this is a very special thing, and these are key milestones, right? Things that we never did expect to happen.
Absolutely. I
would just then ask just a short question, Frank, because a lot of people are asking in the community, what is the difference between this IGEL OS and the standard Ubuntu system you can download from the Ubuntu side? Because most of our attendees, most of our contributors in the community are comparing some functionality that you have in the standard Linux distribution, like having a D package installed by default or having an apt repository. And can you just describe a little bit what is the difference from your dev side between the standard Linux distribution and the IGEL one?
Well, yeah, I can talk about this a little bit. It has a different idea behind. Everybody can use a standard Linux and can put it on a PC and has some Linux running, right? And it's not meaningful, first of all, to compete with this, because this gives people freedom. This gives them whatever they want, and and they can also do whatever they like with this. But we have a different approach. We have an approach. We want to have a managed operating system that is secure and that can be updated in large quantities, like 10,000s or 50,000s of units, and with a safe update mechanism. So that is one of the major ideas. Is we have an update mechanism that can be interrupted. It is fail-safe and can and keeps its settings and its configuration even after update for a very long time. We usually support operating systems for 5 or more years. And whenever you do an update from a very old version to the very latest version, the configuration stays consistent. And that won't happen in a Ubuntu and these kind of operating systems. So we have a different idea. Our idea is to take work away from the administrators, to help them in doing their work. And that's our main topic, right? We have installations where maybe 500 or more administrators are working, and they do all their work with PCs, right? And when they install our operating system, that load gets reduced from them, and we see always that people appreciate our work because we provide easiness for this Linux. So that's the main difference. And clearly, we have people that are complaining they can't use Debian package management and install something. But actually, think about why should you install something. It is a tailor-made operating system. You wouldn't complain if your TV does the same for you. And actually, most of the modern TVs have some applications you can fetch, but you can't install Debian packages on it, right? And why should you? And you should treat it in the same way. And our value is to make this Debian package management not to make it unavailable for you, but to make it to remove the necessity for this, right? That's what we try to achieve.
Yeah, that's actually, Frank, going to be my next question. We get a lot of questions in the community about custom partitions, and a lot of our folks see the huge benefit of custom partitions. Like you said, the smart TV, the power is really being able to install the Netflix app and these different apps, right? It extends and makes that better. Are there any plans to make the custom partition creation easier than it is today?
We have some ideas about this, like using this sort of snap mechanism, which is available in Ubuntu. It's not quite clear which route to go, but we have these discussions. We see there is an increasing need of simplifying this and of even maintaining an update process for this and allowing administrators to deploy their own applications. And it's not that we don't like the people to do this. It's more or less an issue with the maintenance. If you go from a very old system to the latest version, what happens to this system? There must be some isolation layer, and that's the main reason for not having this yet, because it's very difficult to keep this updatable, right? But there are ongoing discussions, and at least within a firmware line like 11 or 10 or maybe whatever is coming up, we can make sure it behaves consistently, right? And then I think in the next IGEL OS we will have improved this mechanism a lot to make it easier first of all and make it more reliable during the update.
Then let me just jump in and ask him, because you were asking, speaking a little bit about what is upcoming. I got some questions regarding the amount of people, of developers that are working on the product lines like IGEL OS, like UMS, Java, and so on. Can you describe a little bit how many people are working on our product at the moment?
Well, I don't want to go into that detail actually, because I can tell you in Augsburg we are 100 people, right? And then these 100 people are working on the product. That's what I can tell you. It's not all these nifty details, you know, or maybe not that interesting. But we do everything with 100 people, so to speak. And we assign people from this task to that task. So okay, there are no people switching from Linux to Windows, from Linux to Java and back. But we also have some interactions, right? And it's not quite clear. I can tell this. I can give you this answer for a special version, but not in general, right?
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, good answer. Yeah, fair. You know, Teams and audio video offloading is a big topic. Is there any current status of plans to support Teams?
Yes, it is planned, and I think it's already work in progress, but it's not quite clear when it will be ready. But this is on our roadmap.
Okay.
I got another question from a community member. Just from a historical point of view, are there some components from the, let's say, not the first IGEL OS version, but one of the first versions and the version today that stayed, or was more or less everything redesigned?
So actually we have some components that are very long living, like the setup handling mechanism, this remote management agent, which are there for years, right? But they had a redesign, and I think for these components, the redesigns are maybe I think so 10 or 11 years back. That was the last redesign of these components. So, but all the rest has been changed. You know, there's a lot of ongoing stuff, like in the Linux kernel, this Flash driver, these kind of things. They had to be redesigned because Linux it's a moving target. You know that everything changes all the time, and we must follow these developments. But our configuration stuff, what we have there for maintaining the configuration, this is a very long-living component, which had, I think, the last real redesign was at least 10 years ago. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Cool.
It's quite stable, isn't it?
Definitely.
Nothing wrong with that, right? Frank, here's a question from the Q&A in chat. And guys, if you have any questions, definitely dump them in there. We have a bunch written down that people submitted, but please feel free to use the Q&A piece. Frank, are there any areas now where IGEL is doing its own R&D? Any projects where IGEL wants to introduce a new feature which doesn't already exist in the EUC market?
In the operating system, we work together with partners like Microsoft. We had this remote desktop client, which we adapted from the community and added a lot of features on our own. It was a real hard work because like RDP has a lot of protocols. There are a lot of nifty details I could tell here, but it's really a lot of effort that has been put into like this RTP client. And for us, we see that the world outside is changing too fast that we could do this on our own. And I doubt, because there's always a server side needed and a server side involved, that we should do this. What we will do is developing this management approach, this management system. That is our main competence. That is what we know about. That is our core competence, and we will work and focus on this mainly, and do the rest with partners like Microsoft and Citrix and some other partners you know already in our products. You see we are integrating constantly new protocols, new features, and we see there's a lot of people in the market coming up with new ideas, and we are working together with them, because that's also what we really know how to handle partnerships, how to handle such client implementations. You know, that if you think about a bug that happens somewhere, you need to have a partnership with somebody to fix this in the right time, and these kind of things. That's our competence also, to have strong partnerships, strong relations to people to technology partners, and working closely together with them and to make sure they all the partners and the customers have a good experience, right? And we as I told you, we have 100 people, right? And if you imagine setting up such a thing like Citrix, right? Well, how many people would you need? So, and it's the question: is this our core competence? In my opinion, not. We will maybe see different use cases for our operating system, and that may lead us to different markets. But that's not. I think that's a different story, actually.
That fits exactly in the next questions I received. Frank, thank you for that. Are there any plans or have the ability to update single client components like the Citrix Workspace app or the WVD client in the near future? Because the market is moving quite fast. We're getting new versions, sometimes feeling like every week, and getting new private build versions and so on. So is there a plan to update single components by, let's call it, beta custom partition product?
What we plan is it's maybe secret. I don't know. We never talked about this to the outside yet, but it's something that we are thinking about, is helping people updating their systems from the cloud. Currently, this must be done by the customers. And we think about sort of iOS, right? So you just type update, and whatever needs to be updated comes from the cloud. And we think we want to go this road sometimes. It's not clear whether this is for this year, but at least in the next year you will see such a service, right? And we know it must be done because of, as you said, WVD, they are updating their system, and one day later, everything client must have it. And for this, we have a feature in planning, which will be maybe in the next release, or should be in the next release, which is background update, which allows people to update their systems while using them, which is currently not possible. And that's the base. Like your iPhone, it just updates in the background, right? And this is the first step. And having this allows us to add such a service, and we will be able to ship updates for new versions quite fast, right?
That's perfect.
It's not done yet, but it's
sure.
It's a good idea, but
yeah, I know it's a lot of work, but this week is coming quite often, because sometimes you have Skype real-time media engine, sometimes you have an agent version for Cisco JVDI, and every version has to match the client version, has to match the server version, so it's getting even more complicated at the moment to get the things working. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Should I ask the next question, Doug? I would take that as a yes. Even if the IGEL OS is looking pretty smart at the moment, could you think about adding a theme management into IGEL OS? I know that we already have the light and dark mode, and we have a kind of custom mode, but are there some plans? Because some customers, some partners are asking for, let's call it a kind of Windows design on our IGEL OS. And this request is coming, to be honest, more and more from some part of Europe at the moment, maybe from the US too. So are there maybe some plans regarding that? You can tell us something non-secret?
Well, it's artwork, right? It's adding some files, some styles, some fonts, these kind of things. So it's less technical and less development related. Clearly, we must support it, we must do it. And well, if there are feature requests in this direction, I could imagine we will support it, but it's a matter of, it's a matter of how many people are really needing this, really. Because if you look to our operating system, very often it's just coming up, and then you jump to the next step, which is maybe you don't even see the user interface, right? And for this use case, it's not very meaningful. For other use cases, it would. So, and I like to have nice design for sure. I wouldn't like to have it look like Windows, because this is
no question.
We're not going to copy this for sure. We should come up with an own design, but you are right. It should be themable somehow, and it depends on how many feature requests or how many people vote for this. Actually, I don't know if there's some voting there in the community for such a feature request. We have some feature requests pending, as you may know, but it's artwork, and it can be done. It must not take the development resources too much, and which it doesn't. So it's just a question of who's going to create the design for this proposal.
Definitely.
Yeah, you'd actually be surprised. Go ahead, Sebastian.
No, just saying it's a complicated topic, because every country has sometimes a different kind of thinking, which is cool, which is fancy. So I know it's difficult for me. I just want to need a dark theme, nothing more. But yeah.
Yeah, you'd be surprised at how many people actually want the Windows look. I hear that quite often, and then there's other people that absolutely don't. So it's what's pretty is in one person's eyes is definitely different than another. Here's a question from the Q&A piece in Zoom here. Are there any plans for like an internal store for apps?
Yeah. As far as I know, it is not there are no concrete plans, but the idea is nice, actually.
Would that be something you'd want to do, Frank?
Well, I wonder who's creating these apps, right? That comes back to the custom partition, right? Somebody must set it up, must maintain it, and then these kind of things. So we could provide a platform for doing this, but if we create all the apps by our own, that wouldn't make sense. So there must be some community working on this and providing apps. So we could provide the infrastructure probably.
Yeah, makes sense.
Let me just jump in there. Hold on. Yeah, some question from one guy from Germany. How much time or effort does it need to get a new client like the Citrix Workspace app or a new feature like the Teams integration into a firmware? I know that it depends from a lot of components, but can you just give a rough idea if a new Citrix Workspace app is thrown out by Citrix? How many time do you need to integrate into the IGEL OS and to the UMS also in the profile settings?
Well, it heavily depends how many configurable elements are there, right? If you have like Citrix tons, they have hundreds of parameters, then it's for sure taking time to figuring out what can be configured and make it configurable and test all this. You need to test it. You need to see whether this fits into the configuration. And we, as you know, we have our own abstraction layer for settings, which means we need to translate this into our language. We need to translate this into our management system. And these kind of things, this is quite a lot of work. And also a lot of work is maintaining the infrastructure for testing this. Like if this is an easy service, like in Citrix receiver, then it's not so complicated because it's not complicated to set up a Citrix environment. But if you have like a Cisco Jabber environment or these kind of things which are very complicated to set up and to maintain, then all this effort must also be done, and in the end, this testing and making graphical user interfaces for this for the configuration. It's for an average client, I would say it's maybe 50 to 60 working days in total. So for the average client, But if it is complicated, it can be up to 300, right? Like we talked about Google Chromium, that is much more complicated than just a Synlink client or just a VPN client.
Definitely. Okay, thank you. Last one from my side. I had one. How can I contribute if I find a bug or an error somewhere? Is there a way to report it to the devs or to the support and maybe see how and if it was fixed besides the release notes?
Well, we have no public Bugzilla thing where, but our support handles this usually. If you report a bug to our support department, they will usually give you, they will forward this to us, okay, first of all, and or maybe give you also some mitigation first, and afterwards they will also inform you about an available solution. When you don't need to read it by yourself. If you open a ticket in support, you usually get notification if it is fixed.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Frank, thank you. First of all, thank you. We're almost at the end of the time. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. And Ed, thank you also. We started off with the question of, what was the past 20 years like for you, right? And a lot has changed. So we'll sort of end up the session, our Q&A with you today is, where do you see the future going? If you could draw us a picture of what IGEL 20 would look like, what would that be for you?
Well, I'm pretty sure that a very long time we still need a keyboard and a display and a mouse, which means our operating system could help in moving everything to the cloud and supporting on-premise installation for years. I think in the next 10 years, we will see a lot of movement into the cloud. That's my opinion, and I think we have the right product for this. But what's happening after the 10 years? That's hard to say, right? That you can't. It's hard to guess. But in my opinion, an operating system which allows people to use their services wherever they are, that's always good to have. And the manageable operating system. And another point that is also not to forget is security, right? We see, there are a lot of IoT stuff outside, and today in the news there was always again this riddle thing with the IoT operating systems. As you see, there is a demand, a growing demand on managed secure operating systems, and I think we are the right company for providing this, right? To make this run on different systems, on different platforms, and allow people to have their own applications maybe on this, and going away from this use case thin client and what's related to this to more industrial things maybe. But in the end, everybody needs an operating system that is reliable, that is secure and manageable, and we have it actually. And I think this will be needed in 10 years or in 20 years as well, right? That's my opinion.
That's wonderful, Frank. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit through this, and hopefully we can have you back on in the future. Have you enjoyed it? Is this fun?
Yeah. Thank you.
Know, and we actually wanted you to ask some questions, but maybe we can do that in a different way in the future.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, exactly. Or maybe next time we schedule for a little bit more time, and we actually do happy hours too, which is sort of fun, and it's a lot more. This is more of a one-directional way, unfortunately, just because of the sheer amount of people. But maybe we'll invite you, if you'd like to, come to one of the happy hours, which we tend to have just a few handful of people on there, and it's everyone's camera's open, and it's definitely a good give and take. It's a lot of fun. So thank you, Frank. Thank you, Sebastian, as always. Thank you, Ed. And of course, thank you all for attending. We'll definitely keep this to an hour like we promised. And actually, my wife is texting me saying, "Where are you?" I'm working, baby. I'm working. So what else I say? But thanks, everyone. And yeah. Sebastian, any last words from you? Frank, any last words from you?
Have a nice afternoon.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me, and it was a pleasure for me to talk to the community. It's nice to have a community, right? And thank you. And
yeah, it's amazing, Frank. We just hit 3,800 people, and in the community, which is just phenomenal. When we started this thing up, we thought 1,000 would be interesting, right? So it's a lot of fun. Okay, guys, thank you all for attending, and we'll see you in the next happy hour, and definitely we'll see you in July too. So stay safe, have a great day, and we'll chat with you on another one.
Yeah. Bye.
Tschüss.